So what does financial freedom mean to you?
It is the ability to do things when you want, where you want, and how you want.
The top 5 life insurance benefits that people don't know about, but should. So who do I have with me today? I have Acquania Escarne. Acquania is a financial coach. She is a podcast host. She is a hotel owner, and she is an independent insurance producer with Legacy Builder Group. She is, like me, committed to helping people be financially free and build wealth. So Acquania, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I am excited to have you here. So you and I know we could geek out about insurance, but we will not do that today. But what we will do is what we're trying to do is share some of the knowledge that we have about insurance. So what I want to do is just have you list the top 5 life insurance benefits that people don't know about, but should.
Oh, that's a good one. So 1, life insurance is a guaranteed way to leave a legacy. I'm going to always start with that one because that is the primary purpose for life insurance, to provide for your family when you're no longer here. 2, you can use life insurance to purchase real estate. I did that once before. 3, you can use life insurance to help pay for your kids' college, get them a first home, or help them invest in a business. You can have life insurance on children, which most people don't know. And last but not least, some life insurance comes with living benefits that you can use while you're alive.
All right. So those are some great things. So let's talk about the first thing that you were just talking about, which is the guarantee. Life insurance has got guarantees. Talk about that a little bit more.
Absolutely. So I call it the guaranteed way to leave a legacy because when you die, the insurance companies will pay. They are contracts. Life insurance policies are contracts between the person who buys the life insurance policy and the company who sold it to them, right? So because of that contract in place, they have an obligation to leave tax-free dollars to your family or an organization, whoever you choose to leave your money to after you've died. And because we are all guaranteed to die one day, we call it the guaranteed way to leave a legacy because death is one thing we all won't be able to avoid.
Absolutely, we will not be able to avoid it. Now, this is such a funny topic because so many people don't like to talk about life insurance. They don't want to think about a time when they're not there, but the fact is everybody is going to go there. And so this is a guaranteed way to leave a legacy. And I love that. So let's talk about number 2 is that you can use it to purchase real estate. And you said that you did it to purchase real estate. So tell me more about that story, would you please?
Yes, of course. So first I should start out with, not everyone will be able to do this. It depends on what type of life insurance policy you have. But prior to my husband and I getting married, we invested in permanent life insurance, which is the kind that doesn't expire. And it also builds cash value. So every time you make a payment, some of your money earns interest or a dividend payment, and it grows. So you're earning money on your own money, right? So we put into policies for a couple of years and then decided, hey, we want to purchase our dream home, but we actually have enough money. We're going to purchase 3 homes in 1 year. So in 2016, we got a rental property, our dream home, and we helped my mother-in-law get a condo so she could have a permanent place to live in retirement. And most of that money came out of the life insurance policies that we had. We had $40,000 at our disposal to utilize. And one of the things that I really like is that we had accumulated this money in this life insurance policy, and we took some of it out to invest in real estate, which are assets that appreciate in value. But we also weren't in a position where we were required to pay the money back. So there are some rules when you take money out of policies, but if you do it right, you don't even have to pay the money that you take out back. So we created what some would call our own bank, and then we leveraged our own bank to invest in real estate.
That is something that a lot of people don't know anything about, because I mean, so much of the literature that is out there is buy term and invest the difference. So what's the difference between buying a permanent life insurance and buying term and investing the difference? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, term insurance, I like to use the analogy, it's very similar to an apartment lease. You are in a contract, you have a certain amount of time that contract's going to last. It could be 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, 15, 20, or 30. And then when the contract is up, the lease expires or the life insurance expires. So you don't have insurance anymore. And if you still need it, now you have to get it at a higher cost because you're an older person, and might find it to be more expensive than what you're willing to pay. But permanent insurance, because it doesn't expire and it's guaranteed to be paid out because you are going to die, it costs more. Term insurance is cheaper. It's where you get your bang for your buck. But in reality, companies only pay out 1% to 2% of their term policies. So they normally end up winning when you invest in term because it's never paid out. And then permanent insurance, I don't want to say they're losing because they are still paying your family and helping provide for them when you're no longer here, but they are guaranteed to pay out whether you bought $1 million policy or $500,000 or less. And so with that said, some people believe you should purchase term, which can be more affordable if you're on a tight budget. And I highly recommend it for those who need a lot of coverage and they have a small budget to pay for it. But they may choose to invest other income that they have into stocks and other assets, whereas permanent insurance might cost more, but you may not have enough money to do both. You may not have enough money to pay for life insurance and invest in the stock market. And in those cases, yes, get term and invest the rest. But what I've come to realize is a lot of people don't invest the rest. They spend it or find it disappearing in their usual day-to-day expenses. And I am a person who really, personally, I'm an automated person. And I read Automatic Millionaire by David Bach, like when I was in college. And I put a lot of my saving and investing on autopilot. So when we invested in life insurance and permanent insurance at that, we utilized the ability to just auto pay that. So we accumulated this cash value without even really thinking about it or realizing until we were like, okay, we want to make some moves and this is some money that we can leverage. But there's no right or wrong strategy, in my opinion. It's about what you can afford and what makes sense to you. I like permanent life insurance because the cash value is somewhat protected. It doesn't go down in value because even when there's a down market, because the policies that I use, which are Index Universal Life, do not directly invest your money in the stock market. If the market crashes or the market has a downturn, you don't actually lose any money. But if the market does really well and the life insurance company who is investing their money in the stock market has a lot of profits, you'll find that they will take those profits and they will divide them amongst policyholders. And that's how they end up paying cash value or interest to the policyholders. And so I like a portion of my money to be somewhat safe havened. And that's why I utilized permanent insurance for that. I also like the fact that I can't lose money if they have down year in the market. I just don't earn interest that year. But if they have a good year in the market, some companies will pay up to 12% in interest. And you can't get that kind of return on money sitting in a savings account. That's one of the main reasons why I like it.
Got it. So, I mean, you and I both like permanent life insurance, and I love the fact that there is the safety. I love the fact that your money is directly in the market. I like the fact that you can get the upside potential, maybe not all of the upside potential but you don't get any of the negative downside potential of what could happen in the market. So a lot of people, it can make sense. So you definitely want to talk to somebody who is seasoned and understands life insurance. And when you're considering that, but it's a really good thing. So I also heard you say that number 3 was you can use your cash value or your life insurance to help your children with businesses, paying for college, those sorts of things. I think that that is absolutely terrific. I mean, we as parents, we want to take care of ourselves, and the fact that you can use life insurance to do that, tell me more about that.
Absolutely. So I practice what I preach. So my oldest, for example, has a life insurance policy. He's had one for a couple of years now. And I am not just saving in life insurance. So let me be clear. My husband and I have a two-pronged strategy. We invest in a 529 plan, which is a college savings plan that's offered in most states. And in our state, if you invest up to $2,000 per child, you get to write that off from your state taxes. So we invest enough money to get the tax deduction for our state. And then any other money we want to contribute to our children's future, we put in life insurance. And that's leveraged that way because 529 plans are very specific on what the money can go to. It has to be educational expenses. And if you don't end up using it on your child, you're supposed to use it on yourself or another relative. But what if he gets a full ride or a lot of scholarships? Then I'll have thousands of dollars that I dedicated to school that I don't have anywhere to spend it. And I'm sorry, I've already been paid to get a master's. I'm not getting any more degrees. So what I decided was, and thinking practically, like I remember being in college, I was on scholarship, but there were expenses that aren't covered by scholarship that you need. I didn't have a car in college, but it would have been nice if I had transportation or if I had money for meals, my meal plan ran out, or if I had money for computer and, other supplies that doesn't come from your scholarship money or from your schools in a lot of cases. So,
and the 529 you can't use for cars.
Right.
You can use for computers, but you couldn't use it for a car if you wanted transportation. Right. So you've got to understand the rules of how these things work.
Exactly. So that's why I'm utilizing life insurance as his backup plan B, and if he gets a full ride and scholarships on scholarships on scholarships, Lord help us, then he'll just have a bucket of money that when he gets out of school, he can use on a business, a down payment, a wedding. It's cash, right? And cash is cash, it's king. So it's not limited, it's not restricted, and it is tax-free as well. So I'm providing him way more than I could save in a Roth individual retirement account. I'm also providing him money that he didn't have to technically work to get, because to get money and put it in a Roth for him, he'd have to have income and he doesn't have a job per se, right? So there's just a lot of ways to save tax-free money that people don't understand, and life insurance is one of them.
I'm intrigued. I think when years ago, I thought that it didn't make sense to put life insurance on children. Talk to me about why that makes sense for some children if it works in your budget to put life insurance on a child.
Well, for one, children are the cheapest to insure, right? First, there's children because they're young and healthy, and they're not expected to have any health issues, hopefully, when you're applying. So you're going to be able to pay pennies on the dollar. Secondly, you're giving your child insurance and potentially a gift that you can give to them once they're 18 or at any point over in adulthood. You can turn the policy over to them, and that can be what they leave their family. But God forbid something happens and your child passes away, you also have income to help with their final expenses and anything that comes with that. And so I do see it as a benefit to my future grandchildren, where I have already protected their father. I have given him a policy that if he lives, beyond me, he can definitely pass on and then continue to get more insurance if he likes, but he's already insured. And God forbid something happens to his health, he will already have a policy in place, and it'll be in place until whenever.
Got
So
it.
that's one of the benefits. And most children's policies are not that expensive either. You know, I've gotten some for some parents at $25 a month, or if you really want to be aggressive, you can do $200 a month, and make your child a millionaire before they retire.
Did I hear you say millionaire before they retire?
I sure did. I've actually done the math and written policies where, based on the projected returns of the policy and the amount of money that the parents are contributing, their children will be millionaires before they retire. And it's the greatest gift you can give your child.
You know, my oldest brother is thinking about doing something for his nieces and nephews. He has no children, and so he's trying to figure out, should I put it in some sort of investment or should I put it in an insurance? And he's weighing the options as far as that's concerned. So, but because he's never been married, he's concerned about, well, you know, I think about life insurance in terms of they will get it when I die. But is there any kind of benefit that he could get while he's still living from an insurance policy? Because I think for single people, they often will avoid getting any kind of life insurance because, or they'll get it through their work because they're just like, well, insurance doesn't benefit me in any way, and I want to take care of me. So talk about living benefits that come with life insurance.
But I want to talk about one thing first. So you mentioned insurance through my job and that being enough. And I'm going to tell you now, that's never going to be enough. For one, most Americans will change careers at least 11 times in their working history. And that means you are changing jobs and benefits 11 times, which everyone doesn't get benefits on day one. So if you're someone who's depending on life insurance, which is to provide for your final expenses so your family doesn't have to pay that burden, you are relying on someone else to take care of your family, which I think is selfish. And I think that single people need to understand that they're not themselves independent and have no consequences. Even a single person has parents, siblings, potentially, right? Or unless you're an only child, or other people who will be financially responsible for settling their estate if they don't have a plan in place to do so. And I also think it's important to keep in mind that Uncle Sam likes you to pay a final tax bill, which your estate will have to take care of when you're gone. Student loans do not all die with you, especially private ones. Federal ones, they could be forgiven. Private ones, they will collect or at least attempt to collect from your estate. Credit card debt doesn't necessarily die with you either. It depends on the laws of your state. They will also try to collect unless they are not able to, depending on the laws where you live. And there's so many other things. And you have to keep in mind, if you're a single person who anyone depends on you for income, especially elderly parents, imagine how are they going to provide for themselves if you're not here? And if you can't honestly, with a clear heart and mind, say, I provide for someone else and I don't care what happens to them when I'm gone, then you probably need life insurance, right? I'm not trying to be mean, but if you don't think about it in that way and you know that someone depends on you for income and you still choose not to get life insurance, that is selfish. And so that's basically saying, like, I'll take care of you now, but I don't care what happens to you later. And I don't think most people think of it that way, but that's what you're saying when you refuse to get life insurance. And unfortunately, I have some people who I'm still trying to encourage to get insurance, and they have kids. So I appreciate your brother who has nieces and nephews and how he's thinking about how to give them something, right? Because granted, if they're not your children, you're not obligated to leave them anything. And so please don't think I'm saying that. I'm just saying, if there's someone who depends on you for income, such as your parents, or if you have a family who cannot write a blank check to cover a funeral tomorrow, if you die tomorrow, then you need life insurance. And I can tell you now, the average funeral costs between $15,000 to $20,000 if you want to have bells, whistles, casket, burial plot. And that's assuming that you have an affordable plot that's available. I talked to someone yesterday who said her mother's plot would have been $20,000 had the father not been in the military and had access to a space already. So you're talking about thousands of dollars that you're expecting your family, who all have their own bills and responsibilities, to come up with in an untimely death, right? Because no one expects to die most of the time, and they definitely don't expect to be burying you, right? And then if you want to do cremation, you're looking at about $3,500 to $5,000 just to be cremated. Additional money if your family wants to have a wake and have people be able to come say their final words and blessings. So that's just the bare minimum. That's not a repast. That's not limos to get family to and from the service. That's not, the printing the programs and other things that come along with having a homegoing service. So I think we need to start to educate everyone about what it really means to die and what that cost means to the people around you. And it's not fair to just assume that, oh, well, I have a bank account, they'll be able to access it. No, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how it always works. And with life insurance, it's a lot easier for a funeral home to kind of help you in paying some of the costs with the note that the policy will be claimed and they will be made whole. So there are a lot of benefits to even logistically being able to settle your final service. Per se.
So this has been terrific, and I think you've outlined a number of different things. So I'm not giving you a whole lot of time, but could you talk about this living benefit thing?
Oh,
because I think that's the thing that my brother doesn't get. That's what my brother needs to hear.
Yeah,
in terms of it, in terms of life insurance.
So this is for him because I totally missed that. I got on my selfish soapbox and I
no. I heard that.
So living benefits, those are key. These are benefits that you can use while you're alive. It is basically having the ability to access the death benefit in your policy while you're alive because a medical condition has happened to you. What a company offers varies, but the most common one is the terminal illness rider. If you're diagnosed with a terminal illness and the doctor says you have 12 to 24 months to live, you get to take a lump sum of your death benefit and use that money while you're alive. I've had people need to use it for life-saving medical treatment that's not covered by insurance. I've had individuals use it to have really fond memories with their families before they pass away. So there's a lot that you can do with a lump sum of money that you normally wouldn't have access to until you died. Other companies will also include some really important 3 riders. We call these riders or things they add to your policy. And that would be the chronic illness benefit, which if you're diagnosed with the illness that impacts your quality of life, your ability to do certain tasks on your own, like feed yourself, clothe yourself, bathe yourself, you need assistance now. Think of lupus or multiple sclerosis when you progress with those conditions. The living benefits could be used to pay for your aid or your assistance care. It's not a complete replacement for long-term care insurance, but it is definitely a good supplement to have in your back pocket if you're going to need to take on expenses that you weren't expecting. And the truth be told, medical debt is the #1 reason for bankruptcy in the United States. It's not credit cards, as some believe. And it's normally as a result of an unexpected medical condition, which could be an illness you never saw coming or an injury. And so that leads me to the last 2, which are critical injury and critical illness riders, are also living benefits that will pay you monthly income while you recover if you have a injury that jeopardizes your health, but it's something you can heal from, like a stroke or a heart attack. Doesn't kill you, but definitely requires rehabilitation, or even a cancer diagnosis. Being diagnosed with cancer may come with a long recovery, and in that time you may not be able to work. But when you have the chronic injury or the chronic illness riders on your policy, your insurance company will provide you some money to help pay your bills. It's not a replacement for disability insurance, but it definitely helps.
Perfect. So you have gone over 5 different benefits that things that you can do with life insurance that people may not be aware of. And I think that has been tremendous. So thank you so much for being a guest and talking about that. So I'm going to switch gears for a second, and
Sure.
I just want to ask you a fun question. So both you and I talk about financial freedom. So what does financial freedom mean to you?
It is the ability to do things when you want, where you want, and how you want. I'm an avid traveler. I've been to 38 countries, and I definitely like to be able to leave and vacation with my family whenever I want to. And so being able to know my bills are paid so that I can do that is financial freedom for me.
Absolutely. Perfect. And is there a song that is the Acquania anthem for where you are financially or kind of your financial journey? Something that makes you, that kind of gets you up, gets you moving.
I know.
What's that song for you?
I love anything Beyonce. She inspires me to get to work and do what I need to do. I don't have a favorite song, but that you put on Beyonce, I'll get to working, typing, hustling. I'm a diva. What can I say? Like that is one of my motivating women, and almost every song is an anthem. So.
Got it. Perfect. So if people wanted to get a hold of you and either listen to your podcast or get a hold of you to learn more about life insurance, how would they get a hold of you, Acquania?
Look at my website, thepurposeofmoney.com, or check me out on Instagram, where I'm most active at The Purpose of Money. I'm also on Twitter from time to time at @purpose_money. Check me out for wealth building tips and also some of my courses and curriculum. I'm currently teaching a class, for example, on how to use life insurance to invest in real estate. It's a part of the She Can Work network, and it's an online platform just for women. So if you're interested, check me out, and definitely send me an email or a direct message on Instagram and we can connect.
Hey, so you just heard this great interview that I just finished up with Acquania Escarne, and we talked about 5 things that you could do with insurance that you may not know about. She talked about the fact that you can leave a guaranteed legacy. You can use it to purchase real estate, that you can use it to help your kids. You can use it for the living benefits, which is a game changer. The insurance companies that I was working with didn't really have living benefits, but some of the new companies have got living benefits, and that is a big thing. And it's great for single people because it allows you to do something with the insurance yourself rather than just be concerned about leaving it to the next generation. You can get life insurance on your children. And one of the great things that it does is it helps preserve their ability to get life insurance. And if their health changes, they already have the life insurance. So it's something for you to consider. So keep that in mind. And again, if you need some help with this, you can reach out to Acquania, and you can reach out to me about insurance, and we would be happy to help you. All right. Bye for now.